Hello, this is Everett Pierce, and today is Pearl Harbor Day, December the 7th, 2016. And it's just a little after 2 Arizona time, p.m. Now, this topic we're going to talk about is pertaining to police brutality or wrongful things that happen with our police. And now, I have mentioned, I just did another video. It's labeled Trumpet Spiritual Warfare. Okay. Now, I said in there that I'm on a level 10 warfare. It doesn't get any higher than that. In fact, you wouldn't want to know anything more than that. Okay. Now, this is in reference to how I would handle things as a president of presidents. Okay. And it fits many categories of resolve. And of all the different things we have tried, of things that have been highly, highly effective, what I'm about to tell you is extremely effective. Extremely, extremely effective. Now, with energy, forever life, for every action, there's a reaction. There's an opposing force known as extinction. Now, as we all know with our police force, they are subjected to crime and just a slew of things. Okay. And the energy, as we know that, if you have a house and someone dies in it or someone was murdered, you have to disclose that. Some people are energy awareness. Okay. Now, officers absorb this. It's like a buffer. The police officer is a buffer. So we have to treat our police much different than our citizen. We still have to put the element of fairness. Like we hear and it's like, well, he thinks he's above the law, or our congressman. Okay, so now this is part, being well developed in warfare. There's a lot of it that I just hate. Okay, but I love it from the perspective is it gives me the ultimate hand of self-preservation of mankind. It's not to be destructive about things. And that is in the hands of a specific individual of evolution. Because in the wrong hands, we say if ISIS had this ability, man wouldn't have a chance on this planet. Okay, so that's why certain things are supposed to be in the right hands of people. Okay, so now recently there was an officer. He shoots another individual. I'm not going to make it a racial thing. We are of the brown race. But from the video that I was observing, this individual was running away or walking away from him. He had his back to the officer. Okay, if it proves that this officer was in gross neglect, we can't just think he's a criminal. You got to take in other factors. And it's not making him okay, justified. Okay, when I mention extinction, okay, there are other things in play in terms of energy, like your cologne. Why is it after 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, you don't smell yourself, but other people do? It's called being conditioned. So after a while, officers get conditioned. That's why they need to be fit in many areas and strong, because they're going to be the buffer zone. Okay, so observing that, just that little clip without any more evidence of due process, I would say, wow, that is totally wrong. First of all, extinction has changed its polarity. If someone's got their back to you, obviously, we hold these truths to be self-evident. He's not a threat to the officer. Okay. If in terms of being a threat, he's defying authority. Okay. And that's still a serious offense. Because we can't have people going around thinking they can just do whatever they can, because we have other Americans we have to protect. We have multiple levels of religious people, belief people, non-belief. We have Americans. We are of the human race. We are identified by our bones. And even China, like I said on the trumpet, spiritual warfare. Japanese learned the element of warfare, of their soldier, kamikazes, were highly effective. Now China, they would do caning. Okay, was it for the sake of mere punishment? No. No, 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 no. And if you're China and you do caning and you're under that impression, it was never intended to be that way. Okay, it wasn't for punishment. Because Chinese people understood certain concepts of energy, feng shui, balance. Okay, in my previous life. That's why some of these cultures hold on more of a logical and energy tones of things. Okay, the caning was for the purpose in very specific areas for the individual never to forget what they have done. And if you got a caning, it wasn't that we thought, or 10 people over here is lying because they want to get you back. No, we know beyond a shadow of doubt you are guilty of whatever this crime is, or this violation. Okay, and instead of just quickly throwing you in prison, okay, that's what a prison is. It's not necessarily the punishment of it, is to reminder that that behavior is not tolerable. Okay, so is a reminder. It is a reminder that behavior is not accepted. And if you ever had a caning, or you know any history of caning, basically it takes a long time to heal. It is impossible for anyone who's ever had a caning to ever forget. So next time that individual wants to do that, and of course he's going to say, okay, what's the odds of me getting away with it? As soon as the thought of that caning and what he had to go through, he's going to say, pardon my French, fuck that. Okay, Chinese hold certain valuable tools of warfare. Okay, and that's one of them. Okay, but you have to be very specific who you put that upon. Otherwise, you diminish its value and worth. Okay, so this police officer, okay, obviously he's being subjected, I don't know the whole story, but what state or city he's in, but if it's a city full of crime, yeah, is the extinction energy has consumed him. He has become weak and changed his polarity. So of his thinking, okay, if you shoot someone, you shoot if they're facing at you. At least if you're going to say your life was in jeopardy, at least have the perpetrator face you. Okay, so his thinking, the polarity is switched. He was shooting this person as if they were standing in front of them with a knife. Okay, so I don't put 100% onto the officer. Okay, now bear with me, because the victims and the families of this and the friends of this, and then the element of race, the race and hatred. Okay, so if we find him grossly neglect this officer, if he truly is about serving, protecting American people, that's why I said we would treat our officers a little bit differently. Because it's like, for example, here's 3 feet of cow shit. Okay, and he has to crawl through this cow shit. Okay, when he gets up to the end, and he says, hey, I want to take a freaking shower. And they say, oh no, you got to stay in line. Everyone waits up. Well, you give him a little exception. And you say, wait a minute, this guy smells like shit. Let's skip him in the head of the line, which is the normal practice of things. And let's get him a shower. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, now he has a choice. Democracy, right? Yes. You have to give that officer democracy. You also have to give the victims democracy. Okay. Otherwise, hatred, like a campfire, will never smolder and go out. Okay, so there's multiple factors that goes on here. Okay, so the officer has a choice. Either prison. Option B is that he will be handled by the institution itself. You have officers, dedicated, established officers, and we will bring in some Marines or Army, but mainly Marines. And we will take him in a room. Now this is, if he says, I want option B, he's relinquishing his rights. When you relinquish your rights, in terms of torture, okay, because what we're about to do to him has nothing to do with punishment. Has to do with the extinction energy. Okay, because somewhere in his body being consumed with this, we have to be rid and remind every cell organism. We have memory cells of our body. Okay, the spirit controls the brain controls the body. Okay, so we would put him in that room. We would have it publicly documented. These Marines, I would pick out some of the badass Marines. And they're very knowledgeable. Means, they know how to hurt you. They don't have to touch your face or your genitals. They're going to hurt you to the point where you're going to beg, please kill me. Take me out of my misery. You have to take them to that level. It might take that officer 6 months to heal. Okay, but if he truly was about serving, protecting American people, he would say, option B, no problem. Because afterwards, you'll say, damn, why in the hell did I ever do that? And now he has caused a problem. Okay, so now you have this document. So now whether you put it on midnight news or Fox News or whatever, I mean, that's choice. Okay, but the victims have to have access to this video. Because we all know how people like to lie and say, well, justice has been delivered. No, when you watch a video of an officer being beat to almost the brink of death, he's relinquished it. He wants that. He wants to get that extinction type energy out of his system. Because he even recognized that kind of thinking logic is a ticking time bomb. It's just not conducive to him. It's not conducive to the people he wants to protect. Okay, you videotape this, and the victims watch this. Now, I'm not saying that it is okay to torture someone and to take liberties of it. Okay, but we have to look for confirmation. Because if the victim's hatred don't fizzle out, what torture are they going to put on upon other people without thinking? And because they harbored these feelings. So when they can watch a video and say, yeah, he got his consequences, I saw it for himself, and they even do video of him healing. Okay, but we're not going to throw him away like a piece of trash. Officers don't become officers because they truly want to protect people. Okay, it just happened this officer fell weak. We're going to keep him in the police force. He might do paper pushing. He's going to continue to do his training, practice with his weapon. He's going to be put into different series to the point where if he's put back on the street as our asset now, because now he's going to go through the experience. He knows how to be much stronger. He'll be a support system or for other officers who could fall weak and make poor choices and decisions. Okay, but we don't put him back into the street until we know beyond a shadow of doubt he is, why do we put people in prison? Is rehabilitation. So we rehabilitate this officer. Now, if we rehabilitate him correct and everything goes well, now he is better than any officer could ever be. because he has experienced something, he has lived it, he'd be more apt when he's carrying thing out and thinking, okay, if I don't do this, boy, I don't want to go 6 months with that crap again. And his fight against extinction energy, switching his polarity and switching his thinking, he's more likely to resist it. And he'll just, okay. So that way, everyone is happy. It also shows genuineness on the officer. Because if you're willing to take a beating by some, I don't know if you've met any Marines, but there's some tough, pardon my French, they are some badass son of bitches. Just like Donald Trump with our general. Mad dog. That's considered a compliment. Warfare is nothing nice. But for self-preservation, we have to know those skill sets. We also have to be able to problem solve and to forever close it and not have it reissue up. Okay, so that's how I would handle our police force. Is because now you see we're going to turn that officer into one badass cop. He's not only going to be bigger and stronger. Now, if he never makes it, of course, he's never going to be put back on the street. But at this time, the victims and say, well, okay, justice has been delivered. My son didn't die out of vain. And then you open up the mind of the victims and you say, wait a minute, Everett's right. It's like for every action, there's a reaction, and it's like, and the cop is subjected to this. I mean, it's like, put yourself in that cop's. It's not saying, is to understand both sides, is to open up that line of communication and say, hey, thank you, officer. I'm safer today. And vice versa. That's how we would handle our own. You have to have the option of handling your own. You heard him. And it's for all the memory cells of that officer's existence of that flesh. That, believe me, with memory cells, is when that officer's out there, he's going to be sharper, he's going to be more alert, and he'll start developing other things of his awareness of energy. So instead of, if he's in his cruiser and he'll just feel something's not right and then turn around and have just enough time to pull his revolver out because someone was just coming around the corner to shoot him dead in his cruiser. He'll have that sense of awareness. So you couldn't even sneak up on an officer. Okay, so that might sound vicious, but I understand warfare. I understand how to resolve things. Okay? And people need certainty. Okay? So you have to be very clear when you carry this out. It's for the love of the officer. Because if you put him in prison, I did research in prison. And they will have to quarantine him because other inmates, other criminals would kill him. If they knew he was an officer, they would kill him. They rape him. They do all the nasty things you hear about prison. Okay, he'll have to be in his own little cell. Or if the officer truly was about serving, protecting people, and he just happened to feel weak, we're going to show that love and compassion and humanity to him. Pardon my French, we owe that fucking respect to our police officers, our ambulance, our fire department. We do. But we have to handle it, and we haven't been handling things the way they should. So I hope I brought some clarity to this. That we have to become stronger. We have to become more stable. We have to get rid of this illusional racism. We have to get this campfire of hate to smolder and go out. And that's one thing about a paradoxical energy, is how do you put out something? How do you get rid of something that you can't touch, feel? And that's how you do that. You resolve this in, and then the officer knows that, okay, my life is not ruined. My wife's life is not ruined. My children's lives are not ruined. I can still support them. Rehabilitation. We have to give the officer, he fucking earns this. Okay, and I'm standing up for the officers because when you put your life on the line every single day that we've seen officers being shot, these cowards come up and shoot them right in their car. That pisses me off. You would never do that with me. Let me tell you. So, we owe them a sense of respect and give them a little credit for this. Okay. I'm not saying you have to like the officer, but that's his job. If you enjoy your freedom in America, you enjoy being able to sleep or as peaceful as possible at night, yeah. That's why we have police. That's why we have fire department. That's why we have ambulance, to bring a little peace of mind to all American people. This is an evolutionary concept for future of greatness. And that's what Trump has been about. Make America great. If you see this out here and you consider that great, well, pardon my French, I'm going to be me. Fuck you. If you think this is great, you're insane. And you're being attacked by extinction. Okay. With that out of said, I had expressed myself. I have love and care for all people. And if you can't hear my conviction of self-preservation of humanity, we are the human race. And am I racist? Yes, I am racist. Because I know the human race is the superior race. The race here, which is not even 1% of all the life forms out there, have succeeded all of them, and that's why you're here. You're here because you're been deemed and classified as freaking awesome. Just because you have not identified that and developed that, that's not our problem. I think, therefore I am. You are freaking awesome. So, I'm entitled with my First Amendment. And I would think by now, for anyone that knows me, it's about a win-win situation for you and me. I want to be able to come up and handshake you and give you a hug and say, and treat you like a brother, treat you like a sister. And that's some of the problems that we're having. So in terms of the cops, we owe that to them. And don't take that away from them. You know what's going to happen? You're going to have a lot of people say, fuck them. If they want, let them figure it out on their own. Let them protect themselves. We don't want to go down that road. We should be very thankful we got men out there that are willing to put their lives on the line for us. You know, the feeling of that, someone that's willing to lay down their life for you so you can have a better life. How can you not fucking give that person a respect? A little bit of benefit of the doubt. Allow him cut through the line and take a fucking shower and rehabilitate him. Where he's bigger, he's stronger. And if he never meets certain standards, then we just don't put him back on the street. But he's still going to be an asset to our police department. Because he will be able to identify to me, hey, Everett, something tells me that that energy might be affecting him. So you may want to go check it out. I would say, are you certain? I don't know. Every time I turn around, I just keep having my eye on that guy. I don't even know him. So he can be an asset to me. He will help me to identify other officers who might be subjected. You know, they can't smell the cologne, but they're being subjected to it. Okay, one way or another, I'm making him an asset. I'm not going to throw him away like a piece of trash, because he's not a trash. He's an awesome individual. And we just have to get to the bottom of the dysfunctions of things and bring about fairness. Then you bring about fairness, hatred just smolders out and goes away. And then we go on to our next issues of handling and problem solving. And with that, this is Everett Pierce. My intention is not to offend anyone, but when it comes to energy, numbers, and God, our police department, our government, I'm serious as I'll get. And there's nothing personal. But I want greatness for you and you, and this person here too. I earn it. I deserve it. You deserve it. So I hope I've put some clarity to this. And it's not a matter of being mean. And this is far different than torture. There's a logic and reason behind this. And these are things that fall in the guidelines of we hold these truths to be self-evident. With that, this is Everett Pierce on my birthday, December 7th, 2016. Thank you.